Okay, well, I recognize our scripture reading was a little bit long, and don't know, we won't be covering all of it today, and I'm sure I'm going to revisit it in the weeks to come. It was chosen by me as Easter's now past, and we have this wonderful thought process going on in our mentalities about the resurrection of Jesus and what it all means, and what he accomplished in his lifetime here, and what the accomplishment was with the resurrection. And so I've turned to this passage because all of us have different understandings of what it is he did and what it is that he accomplished on the planet. The main impetus, as far as I'm concerned, isn't so much what he did, except by way of example, to show us that we take a look at it. For us, it's what we do. We've got an opportunity to see what one person did with that, and he's not the only one. There are several others in history, but we have an opportunity to see what he did. And not only in looking at what he did, we have words of his that tell us what we need to do. Not our exact life pattern, but certainly the thought or the idea that the heights that he rose to, the things that he accomplished, were within our grasp. It's there for us to be able to do the same thing. And so, certainly for mankind, the quest has always been how to understand more, how to achieve more. And if we look at what's happened in the past 100 years, we see tremendous strides in technology and things that have been accomplished that were dreamed of before. But the point is they were dreamed of. And without the dream or the hope or the thought of a certain process coming to the forefront or taking place, it never would have happened. It first starts as this little seed. We have this wonderful story of the sower that goes out and sows all these seeds. And, for a moment, I'm just going to take an aspect of that, and I'm going to take Reverend Macaulay here and David, and the last time they were Puerto Vallarta, they sowed a little seed out there. And, where I end up going with this, people may not like, but this is seed that we took, and it's money. Basically something coin of the realm that was necessary in a particular situation. And it was given, and what has taken place from that? They went and used that money to purchase something that was needed. I think we all agree that medications don't last long unless they're cared for properly, and 110 degrees or whatever it is that is not the proper temperature for these things, and they won't last very long. They have to be used right away. So something, if we look at it as seed, we see what that seed has turned into, and it's something beneficial for all of those, and we don't know how many there are. And I don't know whether Ken or David knows how many there are there that are partake of that gift that they bestowed. But the gift was given to people that knew how to use it wisely. And I'm making that as a judgment, of course, but I certainly think it was fine. And not only did they think about it, but they remembered who gave that to them. So a thought process there is and I guess this is personal in a way in this situation because Ken and David did this, but they have people out there in another country, so to speak, that think of them fondly. You may not think about it that way, but it's true. It's so fondly, they remember them from one season or 1 year to the next, out of who knows how many visitors, come through the place. Now that's an instance of taking seed and sowing it in the right place and watching it grow, and it becomes strong, and it becomes something. Our parable today talks about all kinds of seed that's squandered. And I shouldn't say squandered, it's sown. It's sown everywhere. Okay? And some of it lasts and some of it doesn't. So the thought I want to do is I want to take this over and I want to place it in one strict small area, and that's in the area of abundance, because we are talking about money here, and money certainly is a form of abundance. So how do you use your money? How do you use a portion of your abundance? Okay, we all know there's an abundance of love, an abundance of peace, an abundance of hope, and abundance of all kinds of things. And if we take it just now with money, the question is how do we use it? And we look at mankind in general, and mankind in general uses money for what they want. It's really just that simple. They use it for what they want. And the thought or the process that we're attempting to go through, okay, is to learn how to use money for our needs, not for our wants. They're two entirely different things. Our wants are governed by our desire bodies. We see something, we want it, we therefore buy it. And in many instances that I've had the privilege or the sadness, however you want to look at it, to watch, is that I have seen people take money from their necessities of life to buy what they want. They don't have food on the table, and they get $150 and they go get a belly ring. And they still don't have food on the table. And that's an extreme example. However, the problem is it's true. I got to watch it. I got to watch a person do that in the face of having 2 children that they needed to feed. And they decided that because they had done without so long that their belly ring was more important. And they could still go around belly aching about the food that's not on the table. I am offering forth as a proposition to anybody out there that cares to listen, is that if we learned to use the resources that we have and that we have been given for our needs, and to sit down and take a really good look at what our needs are as opposed to our wants, we'd never be in lack. The only reason we ever are in lack is because we've expended money on our wants out there somewhere that fulfill us for about 3 seconds. As Reverend Macaulay has pointed out on more than one occasion, and throughout life we have this, we go buy something that we just got to have that, and the next day we got to have something else because we got that. It's just an age-old thing. And I'm going to say, to the extent that we expend money on our wants rather than our needs, we're throwing seed by the wayside. It gets scorched up, consumed, doesn't last till the next day, has nothing. And it could be a lot easier for people to, instead of donate it to an appropriate cause, to want to spend it on something they want, a television, a car, or whatever they want to do with it. But it doesn't have the same impact. Here in this thing we see an impact of a certain amount of money affecting a lot of lives and doing a lot of good, and a lot of appreciation coming from it. Now you can't get much more out of a buck than that. That's about as far as it gets. So all of us need to take a look at that in our lives. And that's just one aspect of it. And the thing about the parables that are listed here, and I grant we read a long section, but the point of it is that Jesus spoke in parables, he spoke in stories. He spoke in stories so that people would at least remember the story. Because if you didn't tell the story and you gave this esoteric dissertation, which I'm accused of doing periodically, to me it seems nothing but obvious, but the point of it is, when you give the story, people are going to remember the story. And the question is what do you get out of the story? And like all levels of understanding, a particular story can mean different things at different levels.